The word ungrateful hit me like a slap across the face. I stood in my parents' marble-floored kitchen, gripping my phone so hard my knuckles turned white as my mother's voice crackled through the speaker. "After everything we've done for you, Ramona, this is how you repay us?" I almost laughed. 15 years of bankrolling their lifestyle flashed through my mind. The vacations, the country club memberships, the endless loans to my brother Henry that we all knew would never be repaid. "Mum, I can't keep throwing money at Henry's schemes. This crypto startup of his is just another black hole, and you know it." "Your brother has vision," she snapped. "Unlike you, hiding behind your safe little analyst job. He takes risks. He's going places." Yeah, places like the casino, and God knows where else. But I bit my tongue. I'd learned long ago that defending myself was pointless. "The answer is no," I said firmly. "I'm not investing another cent." The silence on the other end was arctic. Then, "I always knew you were jealous of him." I ended the call and slumped against their designer kitchen island, the one I'd paid for during their last remodel. The late afternoon sun streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, highlighting dust motes in the air and the fresh flowers my mother insisted on having delivered weekly. On my dime, of course. My phone buzzed. A text from Henry. "Come on, sis, don't be like that. Just hear me out over dinner? Delete." I grabbed my purse and headed for the door, but my father's voice stopped me. "Ramona, wait." He stood in the doorway to his study, looking uncomfortable in that way he always did when forced to take sides. "Your mother means well. We just want what's best for the family." "The family?" I echoed. "Dad, I've been living in a studio apartment for years while funding your lifestyle. When was the last time anyone asked what was best for me?" He shifted his weight, avoiding my eyes. "You've always been so capable, so independent." Independent because I had to be, capable because no one else in this family was willing to step up. A week later, I was sorting through my mail when I found it, buried between credit card offers and utility bills. A notice from their estate planning lawyer, accidentally sent to my address instead of theirs. My hands trembled as I read it, then read it again. They had transferred everything to Henry. The house I'd helped them keep, the investment accounts I'd advised them on, everything we'd built together over 15 years, now legally signed over to my younger brother. I called my best friend Kendra immediately. "They wrote me out," I said, my voice hollow, like I never existed. "Those manipulative bastards," she breathed. "What are you going to do?" I opened my laptop, logging into the emergency accounts I'd set up years ago. Joint accounts, requiring my signature for any major changes. Accounts my parents had forgotten about in their rush to erase me. "They think they can just throw me away?" My cursor hovered over the access settings. They forgot who's been holding the purse strings all along. I thought about the dreams I'd sacrificed, the promotions I'd turned down because they required travel, and who would handle my parents' finances while I was gone. The apartment I still rented, because every spare dollar went to maintaining their lifestyle. The relationships that fizzled because I was too busy playing ATM to my family. My mother's voice echoed in my head. Ungrateful. No, I'd been nothing but grateful, nothing but giving, nothing but the dutiful daughter for 15 years. And this was my reward, being discarded the moment I refused to play their game. My phone lit up with another text from Henry. "Hey, need to discuss something urgent about the startup. Can you transfer $50K by tomorrow?" I looked at the emergency account balance, nearly $500,000, money I'd squirreled away just in case over the years, money they'd never bothered to track or question, too busy spending what I gave them freely. They wanted to play games with money? Fine, let's play. I clicked the button to freeze all transactions, then shut my laptop with a satisfying snap. For the first time in years, I felt something other than resignation or guilt. I felt powerful. Let them scramble. Let them panic. Let them finally understand what it means to lose everything you thought you could count on. My name is Ramona, and this is how I burned my family's golden world to the ground. It took exactly 6 hours for my phone to explode. First came Henry's texts, evolving from casual to desperate. "Hey, trying to access the emergency account. Is there a system problem? Ramona, this is serious. I need that money. Answer your phone. I blocked his number. Then came my mother's messages, following her predictable pattern. Anger, guilt, manipulation. How dare you freeze those accounts? After everything we've done for you. Your father is devastated. Please, sweetheart, we need access. Don't be difficult. I blocked her too. Kendra arrived at my apartment that evening with wine and takeout. She found me curled up on my second-hand couch, staring at my phone's blocked calls list. You look like you need this, she said, pouring a generous glass of red. I just froze $500,000 of my family's safety net, I said, accepting the wine. Should I feel this good about it? Honey, you're not their safety net. You're their ATM, Kendra settled beside me. And they just tried to cut you out completely. What did they expect? My phone buzzed again, my father this time, calling from a different number. I declined the call. I should call Travis, I mused, thinking of my ex. He's a financial lawyer. I need to know exactly where I stand legally. The hot lawyer ex who still likes all your Instagram posts? Yes, you absolutely should call him. Kendra grinned, then grew serious. But Ramona, you always said you didn't want to be like them. Just make sure your revenge doesn't make you worse. I took a long sip of wine. They're about to learn what it feels like to live without a safety net. How is that worse than what they did to me? The next morning, I met Travis at his favourite coffee shop. He looked good, better than I remembered, in his tailored suit and with just a touch of grey at his temples. His eyes widened when I laid out the situation. Let me get this straight, he said, leaning forward. You've been supporting them entirely? Since I was 20. Every bonus, every raise, it all went to them. I stirred my coffee absently. I kept thinking if I just gave enough, they'd finally love you properly? Travis finished softly. I looked away. Sounds pathetic when you say it out loud. No, it sounds human. He pulled out his tablet. All business now? But here's what concerns me. I know the lawyer who handled their asset transfer, Serena James. She has a reputation. What kind of reputation? The kind that involves previous fraud investigations that mysteriously disappeared. He showed me some news articles. And the way this transfer was handled, there are deliberate exemption clauses buried in the paperwork, like they planned this for years. The coffee turned bitter in my mouth. Years. They'd been planning to cut me out for years, all while taking my money. What's my legal position with the frozen accounts? I asked. Strong. They're joint accounts requiring your signature. You had every right to freeze them. He hesitated. But Ramona, if you really want to hit back, I could do some digging into Serena James and your brother's new venture. My phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. My mother using someone else's phone. Your father had to cancel his heart medication refill. Is that what you wanted? To hurt us? I showed Travis the message. They're trying to guilt me? Dad's medication is $15 a month with insurance. They spent more than that on their morning coffee today. They're desperate, Travis said. People show their true colours when they're desperate. I thought about all the times I'd been desperate. Working overtime, skipping vacations, living on ramen to afford their lifestyle. Where was their concern then? Do it, I told Travis. Dig into Serena James. Dig into Henry's business. Dig into everything. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Just remember, revenge is like medicine. The dose makes the poison. I pulled my hand away gently. Then let's make sure the dose is exactly right. Walking home, I passed the luxury car dealership, where I'd co-signed for my brother's last vehicle. Through the window, I could see him arguing with someone in a suit, probably about missed payments. My phone buzzed one final time. A message from my father. Princess, please, we can talk about this. Whatever you want. I deleted it without responding. What I wanted was 15 years of my life back. What I wanted was parents who loved me for me, not my bank account. What I wanted didn't matter anymore. Now it was about what they deserved. And they deserved everything that was coming. 2 weeks into my financial siege, Henry's attempts to manage the family money were like watching a toddler try to juggle chainsaws. Every day brought a new disaster, and I had front row seats to the show. Your brother bounced another check, Kendra reported over lunch. She worked at the local bank and kept me informed. And your mum tried to use her credit card at Nordstrom. Denied? She made quite a scene. I stirred my salad, remembering all the times I'd had to eat cup noodles so they could maintain their lifestyle. Karma's not so fun on the receiving end, is it? My phone lit up with a notification from a real estate app. I nearly choked on my lettuce. They listed the house, I whispered, showing Kendra the listing. For a quick sale, way under market value, the colonial-style home filled my screen, its pristine lawn, the wraparound porch where I'd spent countless summers reading, the bay window I'd helped restore last year. My throat tightened. That's the house you saved from foreclosure, right? Kendra asked gently. 10 years ago. I closed the app. Dad lost his job. They were 3 months behind on payments. I refinanced it in my name, used my first big bonus as a down payment. And now they're selling it without you. Trying to sell it, I corrected. No one's buying that house until the fraud investigation is complete. Speaking of which, Travis called that evening while I was making dinner. You need to hear this, he said, without preamble. Remember how I was looking into Serena James and your brother's business? Find something? More like everything. Henry's blockchain startup doesn't exist. It's a shell company. And guess who helped him set it up? Serena James. I set down my knife. Go on. The company's just moving money around. Large amounts, weird patterns, classic money laundering signs. And get this, some of the transfers trace back to known gambling operations. The pieces clicked. Henry's late-night meetings, the constant need for cash, the desperate texts when I froze the accounts. He's in trouble, isn't he? I asked. Real trouble. If by trouble you mean potential criminal charges? Yeah. And your parents' lawyer knew exactly what she was doing when she helped him set this up. I heard a knock at my door. Through the peephole, I saw Henry. Dishevelled, unshaven, nothing like his usual polished self. I have to go, I told Travis. My brother's here. Want me to stay on the line? No, I can handle him. I opened the door but kept the chain on. What do you want? Please, Ramona. His eyes were bloodshot. I need help. There are people. I owe them money. Gambling debts? He flinched. How did you... Doesn't matter. What matters is you're not my problem anymore. Mom and Dad made that very clear when they signed everything over to you. They didn't mean... Yes, they did. I met his eyes. They meant every signature, every clause, every deliberate move to cut me out while taking my money. And now you're all learning what life is like without your personal banker. These people are dangerous, he whispered. If I don't pay, then I guess you better sell that fancy car. Or maybe that Rolex I bought you last Christmas. I started to close the door. Oh, wait, you probably already pawned it. You're my sister. Funny, you all forgot that when you were planning to write me out of the family. I shut the door on his protests and leaned against it, breathing hard. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Your brother is crying in our driveway. Are you proud of yourself? I typed back. Are you proud of raising a son who gambles with dirty money? No response. Later that night, I drove past my childhood home. The for sale sign looked wrong in the front yard, like a tombstone marking the death of my family's facade. A light was on in the kitchen, and through the window, I could see my parents at the table, heads bent together over papers. They looked older somehow, smaller. For a moment, my finger hovered over my mother's number. It would be so easy to give in, to be the responsible one again, to fix everything like I always did. Then I remembered the asset transfer papers, the deliberate clauses Travis had found, the years of planning behind my exclusion. They'd been preparing to discard me all along, even while taking my money. I drove away, leaving them to their dimly lit kitchen and their mounting bills. Let them learn what it feels like to be abandoned. My phone buzzed one last time. Travis again. Found more about Serena James. You're not going to believe this. I followed Henry's silver BMW through downtown, keeping 2 cars between us. He'd been making these mysterious trips 3 times a week, always claiming they were investor meetings for his blockchain startup, the startup that didn't exist. He pulled into the parking lot of the Golden Palace Casino. Some investor meeting. Got you, I muttered, snapping photos with my phone. Through the windshield, I watched him hurry inside, looking over his shoulder like a man who knew he was in trouble. My phone rang. Travis. That background check on Serena James came back, he said. She's been involved in 3 different money laundering cases, all dismissed under suspicious circumstances. Let me guess, she helped the guilty parties hide their assets. Exactly. And now she's helping your brother do the same thing. I was about to respond when someone knocked on my car window. I jumped. My mother stood there, designer handbag on her arm, face twisted with anger. Following your brother now? She demanded, as I reluctantly rolled down the window. What kind of sick game are you playing? The kind where I expose what's really going on, I said. Did you know your golden child is gambling away everything you gave him? He's networking, building business relationships. I gestured at the casino. In there? Wake up, Mum. He's not running a startup. He's running a money laundering scheme with your crooked lawyer. How dare you? She grabbed my car door handle, yanking it open. You've always been jealous of him, always trying to make him look bad. He doesn't need my help with that. I stepped out of the car, facing her. Tell me something. How long did you plan to cut me out? How many years did you spend taking my money while plotting behind my back? We did what was best for the family. I was family too. My voice cracked. Or was I just the bank account you kept around until you didn't need it anymore? You were never meant to be the star, Ramona. She smoothed her expensive blouse, one I'd bought her last birthday. You're the responsible one, the boring one. Henry has vision. Henry has gambling debts and a fraud investigation coming his way. Her face paled. What investigation? The one I'm helping build. I smiled coldly. Against him and Serena James. You wouldn't dare. Try me. A car door slammed nearby. My father emerged from their Mercedes, looking uncomfortable as usual. Tamara, please, he said to my mother. Not here. Did you know about the money laundering, Dad? I asked. Or did you just sign whatever papers Mum put in front of you, like always? He flinched. Your brother made some mistakes, but what? But he's your son. But he deserves another chance. I laughed bitterly. I gave you chances for 15 years. I gave you everything I had. We never asked for... Yes, you did. Every single time, every crisis, every bill, every temporary loan that was never repaid. You asked, and I gave, and gave, and gave. Ramona? I turned. Kendra stood there, having just pulled into the parking lot. She took in the scene. My mother's rage, my father's discomfort, my shaking hands. Everything okay here? She asked, moving to stand beside me. We're having a family discussion, my mother snapped. Family? Kendra's voice dripped acid. Funny, I thought you wrote Ramona out of the family. Or does she only count as family when you need her money? This doesn't concern you. Actually, it does. Because I've spent years watching you drain her dry, and I'm done being quiet about it. Kendra took my arm. Come on, Ramona. Let them deal with their golden child's mess themselves. As we walked away, my mother called out, You'll regret this, when everything comes out about Henry's business. You mean his money laundering? I turned back. Don't worry, Mum. Everything will come out. I'm making sure of it. Back in my car, Kendra squeezed my hand. You okay? I watched through the windshield as my parents huddled together, whispering frantically. Henry emerged from the casino, saw them, and tried to retreat, but too late. I'm filing the court petition tomorrow, I said, for fraud investigation on the asset transfer. Travis says we have enough to start. Good. Kendra nodded firmly. Let them sweat. My phone buzzed with a text from Travis. Just got word. Serena James has 3 other clients under investigation. This goes deeper than we thought. I started my car, watching my family argue in the casino parking lot. They looked small from here, their designer clothes and luxury cars just window dressing on a house of cards. And I was about to blow it all down. The repo man came for Henry's BMW on a Tuesday morning. I watched from my office window across the street as they hooked it up to the tow truck. Henry ran out in his silk pajamas, shouting and waving his arms like a windmill in a hurricane. My phone buzzed, Kendra sending me updates from the bank. 3 bounce checks this week. Their power's getting cut off tomorrow. I typed back, "They have a generator. I bought it last year." "Yeah, about that. Henry tried to pawn it yesterday." A bitter laugh escaped my lips. Of course he did. My office door opened and Travis walked in, carrying a thick manila folder. "The court accepted our petition. Fraud investigation is officially open." "How long until—" My phone rang. My father's number. I almost declined it, but something made me answer. "Ramona?" His voice cracked. "Please, I need you to talk sense into your brother. He just doesn't know what he's doing." The mighty Henry, the golden child with vision, reduced to needing his boring sister's help. How the tables had turned. "Remember when I needed someone to talk sense into all of you?" I kept my voice level. "When I said giving Henry unlimited access to money was a bad idea. When I warned you about his gambling." Silence. "Did anyone listen to me then, Dad? We thought... You thought he could do no wrong. And now look where that got you." He started crying. Actually crying. In 15 years of playing their ATM, I'd never heard my father cry. I ended the call. "You okay?" Travis asked softly. "No." I stood up pacing. "Yes? I don't know. This should feel better, right? Watching them fall apart? Revenge is complicated." He opened the folder. "Speaking of which, look what we found about Serena James." Documents spilled across my desk. Bank statements, court records, evidence of previous fraud cases mysteriously dropped. And there, in the middle of it all, a connection I hadn't expected. "She's been working with the same gambling outfit Henry's mixed up with," Travis explained. "This isn't just about your family anymore. This is organized crime." My stomach lurched. Is Henry in danger? If he doesn't pay what he owes? Yeah, probably. I sank back into my chair. This was supposed to be simple revenge. Freeze some accounts, let them struggle a bit, teach them a lesson. But now... My phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. "Your brother owes us money. Family should help family. You have 48 hours. I showed Travis the message. "We need to call the police," he said. "And tell them what? That my brother's involved in money laundering with the mob? Better than waiting for them to hurt him." I thought about Henry. Spoiled, entitled, reckless Henry, in over his head with dangerous people. Despite everything, my chest tightened with worry. Another text came through, this time from my mother. "The power's out. We can't afford food this week. Please, Ramona, you've made your point." "Don't answer it," Travis warned. "They're trying to manipulate you again." "I know." I stared at the message. But what if Henry really is in danger? Then he got himself there? "You're not responsible for saving him." My office door burst open. Kendra rushed in, face flushed. "You need to see this," she said, thrusting her phone at me. On the screen was a local news article. "Prominent lawyer under investigation for multiple fraud cases." Serena James's photo stared back at me. "It's starting," Travis said. "Once this hits the news, everything else will unravel." My phone rang again. Henry this time, using a new number. "Ramona, please," he begged when I answered. "These guys, they're serious. They came to the house last night. Mom's terrified." "Should have thought about that before you got involved with them." "I didn't know. I didn't think." "That's the problem, Henry. You never think. You just expect everyone else to clean up your messes." "They're going to hurt me." The words hung in the air. I looked at Travis, then Kendra, seeing my own conflict reflected in their faces. "Give me an hour," I said finally, and hung up. "Ramona," Kendra started. "I know," I grabbed my coat. "But if anything happened to him, even after everything they did—" "You're not responsible for saving them," Travis repeated. "No," I agreed. "But I am responsible for what I do next. And I won't have their blood on my hands, even if they deserve it." I headed for the door, then paused. "But that doesn't mean I'm going to make it easy for them." Cameron Hart's office reeked of old money and expensive cigars. He sat behind his mahogany desk, looking exactly like the family friend who'd watched me grow up. Silver-haired, Brooks Brothers suit, grandfatherly smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Your mother called me," he said, folding his hands. "She's quite concerned about the family's situation." "I'm sure she is." I placed a USB drive on his desk. But before you decide to play White Knight, you should see what's really going on. He plugged in the drive, and his face darkened as he scrolled through the documents, bank statements, casino receipts, money transfers to shell companies, the evidence Travis and I had gathered. Henry's been laundering money, I explained. That startup he pitched you last month doesn't exist. It's all a front. Dear God. He removed his reading glasses. Does Tamara know? Mom sees what she wants to see, always has. And you're showing me this because they're about to ask you for money. Probably already have. And I don't want you getting dragged into their mess. He leaned back, studying me. You know, I always wondered why such a bright girl stayed in that toxic situation for so long. I thought if I just tried hard enough, gave enough. I swallowed hard. Pretty stupid, huh? No. His voice softened. Just human. My phone buzzed. Travis texting updates about the fraud case. Serena James had been suspended pending investigation. The walls were closing in. Thank you for the warning, Cameron said, standing. I'll decline any financial requests from your family. Walking out of his office, I felt lighter somehow. One less safety net for them to cling to. Back at my apartment, I found my mother waiting by the door. You went to Cameron, she accused. You poisoned him against us. The truth isn't poison, Mom. It's just the truth. We need his help. The electricity is still off. Henry's in trouble. Henry's in trouble because he gambled with dirty money. I unlocked my door, but she followed me inside. And you enabled him every step of the way. I protected him. That's what mothers do. What about protecting me? The words burst out before I could stop them. Who protected me when I was working 60-hour weeks to keep you all afloat? When I was living on ramen while you vacationed in Europe? You were strong. You didn't need... I needed my mother. My voice cracked. I needed you to love me as much as you loved him. To be proud of me, just once, without asking for money in the next breath. She sank onto my couch, the same second-hand couch I'd had for years, because every spare dollar went to them. Your father's been calling you, she said quietly. I know. He misses you. He misses my checkbook. She flinched. That's not fair. Neither was cutting me out after 15 years of support. Neither was planning it for years while taking my money. My phone rang. Travis again. I answered on speaker. Serena James is talking to investigators, he announced. She's naming names, including Henry's. This is about to blow wide open. My mother's face went ash white. How bad? I asked. Bad enough that anyone connected to these accounts needs a lawyer. Now. After he hung up, my mother stared at me with desperate eyes. Please, Ramona, help us fix this. Fix it? I laughed bitterly. Like I fixed everything else? No, you made your choice when you signed those transfer papers. Now you get to live with it. We'll lose everything. Welcome to my world. I opened my door. Now get out. After she left, I called Kendra. You okay? She asked. No. I poured a glass of wine. I keep waiting to feel better about all this. Shouldn't revenge feel better? Maybe because deep down, you're not doing this for revenge anymore. You're doing it because it's right. They need to face consequences. My phone buzzed with a text from my father. Please call me. Just you and me. No mother, no Henry. I need to tell you something. I stared at the message, remembering all the times he'd stood by silently while my mother and Henry took and took and took. Delete it, Kendra advised. But something in my gut said this was different. Maybe because, for the first time in 15 years, my father wanted to talk to me alone. I'll call you back, I told Kendra, and pressed dial on my father's number. Whatever he had to say, it wouldn't change anything. But maybe, just maybe, it would help me understand why. My father sat across from me at the corner diner, hands wrapped around a coffee cup he hadn't touched. Without his usual expensive clothes and my mother's influence, he looked smaller, older. I knew, he said quietly, about the asset transfer, about Henry's gambling, about all of it. And you did nothing. I was a coward, his voice cracked. Every time your mother pushed for more money, every time Henry made another mistake, I stayed quiet. It was easier than fighting. Easier than protecting your daughter? He flinched. I told myself you were strong enough to handle it, that you didn't need protection. I needed a father. The waitress refilled our cups. Neither of us drank. The gambling debts, he continued. They're worse than you know. These people Henry's involved with, they came to the house again last night. Did they hurt anyone? No, but they made it clear what happens if he doesn't pay. He pulled out an envelope. That's why I'm here, to give you this. Inside was a formal confession detailing everything, the money laundering, Serena James's involvement, the asset transfer scheme, all signed and notarized. Why? Because it's time someone in this family did the right thing. He met my eyes. Use it. Help the investigation. Maybe it'll help reduce Henry's charges if I come forward first. My phone buzzed. Travis calling with updates. Serena James took a plea deal, he said when I answered. She's turning over everything. Bank records, client lists, all of it. The DA's office is moving fast. I looked at my father. How much does Henry owe these people? 300,000. The number hit like a punch to the gut. Jesus, Dad. Your mother's trying to sell her jewellery. The cars are next, but it won't be enough. And you think that's my problem because I don't. He pushed away his coffee. I think it's our mess to clean up. I needed you to know the truth. And to say I'm sorry for everything. My phone buzzed again. Kendra this time. Turn on the news now. I pulled up the local news app. There it was. Breaking news. Local lawyer's fraud scheme exposed. Multiple arrests expected. It's starting, I told my father. He nodded slowly. Good. Good? They might arrest your son. Better than what those loan sharks will do to him. He stood up, leaving money for the coffee. Whatever happens next, Ramona, you did the right thing, even if it doesn't feel like it. After he left, I sat there watching the news unfold. More details emerged. Connections to organised crime, multiple victims, millions in laundered funds. Henry's name hadn't surfaced yet, but it would. Travis called again. Police are heading to your parents' house with warrants. They're bringing Henry in for questioning. I drove there without thinking, arriving just as the police cars pulled up. My mother stood in the doorway, hand over her mouth. Henry sat on the porch steps, head in his hands. Ms. Gill? A detective approached me. We understand you have information about this case. I handed over my father's confession. Everything you need to know is in there. My mother's cry of betrayal cut through the air. How could you? How could I? I turned to face her. How could you spend 15 years taking everything I had, then try to throw me away? How could you watch your son destroy himself and call it vision? How could you? Henry looked up as the officers approached him. Sis, please. I'm not your ATM anymore, I said quietly. I'm not your safety net. I'm just the daughter you never wanted, finally walking away. They led Henry to a police car. My mother collapsed against the doorframe, sobbing. And my father stood straight for the first time in years, nodding slightly to me. Travis appeared beside me. You okay? No. I watched the police car drive away. But I will be. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Kendra. Your old bedroom at my place is ready whenever you need it. Wine's already chilling. I took one last look at my childhood home, at the for sale sign now joined by police tape, at my mother's crumpled form, at my father's resigned stance. Let's go, I told Travis. There's nothing left for me here. As we drove away, I didn't feel the satisfaction I'd expected. No triumph, no joy in their downfall. Just a quiet certainty that finally, after 15 years, I was free. The police would handle Henry. The courts would handle the rest. And I would handle myself. For the first time in my adult life, that's all I had to worry about. The realtor handed me the keys to my new condo with a bright smile. Congratulations! It's all yours. Standing in the empty living room, sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, I felt something unfamiliar. Peace. No guilt about the down payment, no worry about keeping money aside for family emergencies. Just my space, bought with my money, for me. My phone buzzed. Travis with updates about the case. Henry took a plea deal, he said when I answered. 2 years plus restitution. The organised crime connection helped. They're more interested in the bigger fish. And Serena James? Disbarred, looking at 5 to 7 years. He paused. Your father's testimony made a difference. The DA was impressed by his cooperation. I sat on the floor, leaning against freshly painted walls. Have you heard from my mother? She's still trying to salvage what she can, selling everything, claiming she knew nothing about the money laundering. Another pause. She asked about you. Of course she did. She probably needs money for lawyers. Actually, she asked if you were happy. The question caught me off guard. In 15 years of bankrolling their lifestyle, my mother had never once asked about my happiness. A knock at the door interrupted my response. Kendra stood there with a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses. First night in your new place, she announced, walking in. We're celebrating. I put Travis on speaker as she poured. Your father left something at my office for you, he said. Want me to bring it over? What is it? A letter. And the family photo albums. My throat tightened. Those albums held 20 years of memories. Birthdays, graduations, holidays. Before the money took over, before Henry's gambling, before everything fell apart. Bring them, I said. While we waited, Kendra helped me unpack. Each box represented something I'd bought for myself instead of my family. New dishes instead of paying Henry's car payment. Artwork instead of my mother's country club dues. Travis arrived with a banker's box and a pizza. We sat on my new floor, eating and drinking as I opened the letter from my father. Dear Ramona, these albums belong to you. They remind me of when we were a real family, before money poisoned everything. Your mother and I failed you. We took your love and twisted it into obligation. We took your generosity and treated it as a right. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for anything. I just want you to know that you were always enough. You were always extraordinary. We were too blind to see it. Henry starts his sentence next week. Your mother is staying with her sister. The house sells at auction soon. Everything we built on your sacrifice is gone. And that's exactly as it should be. Be happy, princess. Be free. Love, Dad. I closed the letter, hands shaking slightly. You okay? Kendra asked. Yeah. I reached for the albums. I think I actually am. We spent the evening looking through photos, laughing at old hairstyles and forgotten moments. In every picture, I searched my younger face for signs of what was coming. The years of sacrifice, the betrayal, the revenge. Look at this one, Travis said, pointing to a Christmas photo. You all looked so happy. We were, I admitted, before money became more important than love. My phone lit up with a text from my mother. The house auction is tomorrow. One last chance to save it. I showed it to Kendra and Travis. She's still trying to manipulate you, Kendra said. I know. I deleted the message without responding. But it doesn't work anymore. Travis refilled our glasses. To new beginnings? To freedom, I corrected, looking around my new space, at the boxes waiting to be unpacked, at friends who loved me without conditions, at a future unburdened by toxic obligation. I finally felt the weight lift completely. The revenge hadn't healed me. The satisfaction of watching their world crumble hadn't filled the void. What healed me was walking away, choosing myself, building something new from the ashes of what they destroyed. My phone buzzed one final time, a text from my father. The auction's done. It's really over now. I hope you're finding peace. I looked at Kendra and Travis, at the empty champagne bottle and half-eaten pizza, at the photo albums full of memories that couldn't hurt me anymore. I am, I typed back. Then I put down my phone and turned to my friends. Who's ready to help me paint this place? Maybe loving people who never loved me back wasn't my weakness after all. Maybe letting them go, choosing myself, building a new life without their poison. Maybe that was finally my strength. And strength, I was discovering, felt a lot like freedom.